the Galaxy class had a great many windows. It was a good look and made the Enterprise D seem more advanced and more user-friendly than her predecessors. A luxury liner indeed. But wait, what's this? There is something very wrong with this picture. And this one. And this one. Dude, where's my starship? The art department of Next Gen did a very good job convincing us that the Enterprise existed, that the characters were really aboard a starship in space. But there was a flaw, and it was a self-inflicted flaw. The Enterprise D was fiction, of course, and no real starship of the future will look like the Galaxy class, assuming of course that mankind does head into space. I'm increasingly pessimistic. We may have blown this opportunity for our civilization, but I digress. The universe in which the Enterprise swanned about was fiction, and in fiction there is a concept called the suspension of disbelief. In science fiction and fantasy, the level of suspension of disbelief is higher and more difficult to reach than for, say, a British soap opera or a crime drama. A science fiction series must work harder to convince the viewer that the story and the world presented is plausible, that the rules and physics of this world make logical sense. Imagine if, in The Lord of the Rings, Aragorn and company reached Isengard in a spaceship instead of walking or riding a horse. Our suspension of disbelief would be shattered, the illusion destroyed. Historical dramas, for example, weave their illusions by keeping the modern world out. That is why Bridgerton is classed by sensible people as fantasy rather than historical drama. Imagine watching Chariots of Fire, which is set in the 1920s, and you see that modern fire exit sign in the theatre, or that modern radar on what is clearly a modern cross-channel ferry. These are so very blatant that you are torn out of the illusion. Makes you wonder about the director. I mean, how could he miss these? Next Gen told science fiction stories set in outer space, and it had to do this in such a way that it won the battle to suspend our disbelief. For the most part, they succeeded, and we can enjoy watching the series. But there are flaws, and in this video we will look at a self-inflicted one. Windows. More specifically, the view from particular windows. The view from 10 forward was not a problem, nor was the view from various officers' quarters. But the observation lounge, the captain's ready room, and the shuttle bays were a different matter. The Enterprise D is not unique in having this problem, of course. The port side mandible of the Millennium Falcon should be visible from the cockpit in Star Wars. And think of the view from the upper promenade aboard Deep Space Nine. No pylons, no docking ring, no habitation ring. We absolutely should have been able to see these structures, but they were usually missing. Why design a space station in this way if you're going to contradict your own design? Was the station invisible when viewed from its own windows? Was the Enterprise invisible? It seems like it. The observation lounge was on a mezzanine level between Deck 1, the bridge, and Deck 2. From these windows, we should have been able to see the roof of the main shuttle bay. What we should have seen was this. Interestingly, we didn't see the warp nacelles, which is correct. We also wouldn't have seen the upper surface of the saucer, which is also correct. Instead, we would have seen the surface of the upper sensor platform on which the bridge complex was located. Incidentally, have you ever noticed the figure walking from left to right in the opening titles? When the Enterprise passes out from under the camera before her final jump to warp, look closely at the observation lounge windows. You can distinctly see a shadow moving across, left to right. This predates the digital restoration of the 2000s. It's a lovely little detail from the mid to late 80s. But to get back to my point, the worst offender was the captain's ready room. We should have seen something like this. We should have seen the upper surface of the primary hull and a view over the port quarter of the saucer. Shuttle Bay 2 had this problem as well. Located inside the aft portion of the dorsal, its door, when viewed from inside, was vertical, and yet outside it was at an angle. There was also a sill or ledge, which did not appear when viewed from inside with the door open. What we saw was this, but what we should have seen was something like this. They could have used a matte painting, a technique not unknown in Next Gen. but it was as if the Enterprise was invisible. This problem was self-inflicted. They designed a ship with a few windows unfortunately located. It proved a rod for one's own back. I'm reminded of my earlier video, the Enterprise D size problem. Why design a fictional starship of such a size with so many features, a main shuttle bay, a captain's yacht, etc., when you never use them in the series? Were they being overly optimistic? Did they think they would have the budget? It's rather like having a starship with 2 warp cores clearly visible on a MSD, and then writing an episode in which your heroes lose 1 warp core and forget their ship has a second one. Voyager, I'm looking at you.